Have I got everything? Yes, I've got everything. Right. Okay, so this workshop is all about becoming more flexible and having more freedom of movement in our body. So what you're not going to see this week is lots of stretching, because that surprises people sometimes when I say we can become more flexible and, well, let's rephrase that, we can feel more supple in our body, but we don't necessarily need to do lots and lots of stretching. Because if you've done stretching before, okay, and you've got a really tight muscle, back of the legs are quite sort of one of the tightest areas, I suppose, on the body. If you stretch out those legs, you know how uncomfortable it can feel. And that puts a lot of people off sometimes. It can feel really uncomfortable. And some people make the mistake of just overstretching. They just push themselves a little bit too much. And that's where we start to get soreness in those muscles, because we've just pushed ourselves a little too far. So we are going to do some stretching, but it's not going to be 4 days of solid stretching, because what we also need to do to feel more supple in our body is not only lengthen out the muscles, but we also need to gain that suppleness and feel more flexible and have better movements in our joints. I don't know, putting my hands on my shoulders. I think because I use shoulders as an example quite often. So we want greater movement at the joints. So we want to be able to move our shoulders well. We want to be able to have much more freedom of movement through the hips, through the knees, and also one of the biggest areas for a lot of people is the spine. So our back, top to bottom, particularly the lower back though. So that's what we're going to focus on as well. So we are going to do some stretching, but we're also going to focus on creating more freedom of movement through the joints, which in turn will make us feel much more supple, because we'll just be able to move easier. Okay, so it's a combination of a couple of things there. So before we start, we're going to well, I'll tell you what I've been thinking about this last week, because what I really wanted to do was I wanted you to gauge how much improvement you could get this week. And I've been racking my brains thinking, well, how can we do it? Because there are ways that you can actually measure your flexibility, but obviously we can't do it like this, how we're doing this workshop. It needs to be something that you can do easily on your own. So I had this idea of creating the scale of suppleness. Okay, so what we're going to try and do is we're going to measure our suppleness before we start today. When we finish today, I'm going to keep doing it all week, and we're going to see how much we've improved by the end of the week. Okay, now it's quite a tricky thing to do, to measure your suppleness, because obviously it's a feeling, it's how you feel, how well you can move, okay? But we generally know on a day-to-day basis how we feel. But let's just take it from today, from how you're feeling right now. We'll start there, shall we? So on this scale of suppleness, it's going to be a scale of 1 to 10, okay? Number 1, you're going to say to yourself, I'm a 1 because I just feel as stiff as a board. Number 10, it's you saying to yourself, I feel really flexible, super supple, I can move really easily, no aches and pains, I feel great. You're a 10, okay? So you've got to find where you are on that scale right now. You might be a 3, okay? So you might have quite a lot of stiffness, tightness, you feel it's difficult to move. You've got maybe some particular parts of the body which feel really stiff, say lower back when you get up in the morning. You might be a 9. You might feel that you already have really good flexibility and you feel quite supple, which is great. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do these exercises, because as we get older, it's quite easy to lose our flexibility and our suppleness. So for you, it's all about maintaining it. So it doesn't really matter where you are on that scale. If you're at the top, think about maintaining it. If you're further down below, at the bottom of the scale, it's all about trying to improve your flexibility and your suppleness and trying to rise up the scale this week. Now, so that's what I want you to do now. Shall we do that now? So imagine the scale. Think where you are. Where am I now? Do I feel really supple or do I feel as stiff as a board? Okay. Give yourself, um, a number. Where are you on that scale? You might be smack down the middle on number 5. Okay. What I want you to do when you finish, if you've got a pen and paper handy right now, I want you to write it down. I'll tell you why, because we always forget what we thought we were, okay? We forget that number. It's so easy. I do it as well. If I don't write it down, I will just forget it. So what I want you to do is get your piece of paper and put Tuesday on it. Put before and after. So before our session, you were number 5, say, okay? And then when we do it again at the end, you're going to put your score down for that, okay? And we're going to see over the week, if we do it every day, if we can see a bit of an improvement. Now, to be honest, today we're only going to do a short session. It's probably only going to be 15, 20 minutes. That may not be enough for you to feel an improvement. It may take a few days. However, for some of you, you might feel quite a big difference straight away. Everyone's different. It depends on where you are on that scale. So don't be disheartened if you don't feel much of an improvement today. It's only a short session, remember. It's only our first one. So it may take all of the sessions this week before you start to feel a little bit more supple and a little bit more flexible, okay? Because it's improving our flexibility, like I said at the beginning, takes time. So we're not going to be able to do it in one session. Sometimes it's going to take us a little bit longer, okay? But at least you've got a marker of where you're starting, that starting point, and then you can see then how you're improving over this week and hopefully the next few weeks, as I'm hoping that you'll keep these exercises going, okay, and you'll just keep improving and feeling more and more supple as the weeks go on. So you picked your number, okay, you're on your scale, you picked that number on your scale of suppleness, write it down. So if you haven't done it yet, do it at the end, okay, don't forget to do it. Okay, I suppose we better get started, hadn't we? Shall we get started? Now, we're going to do our little routine all in standing, but as we go through it, I'm going to stop you at certain points and I'm going to just give you a minute just to be mindful of how you're moving your body. Because when we're thinking about flexibility, it's really easy to think, oh, we just need to stretch everything out. But also when you're moving in a controlled way, you need to be positioning your body so that you can get that controlled movement. Let me give you an example, okay? If I want to improve the movement at my shoulder, I need controlled movement. So we're going to do this exercise in a bit, okay? So I'm doing this exercise nice and steady. I've got lots of control through the rest of my body because you can see it's not moving. I'm just focusing on that one joint because that's where I want the improvement. I could do it like this. I see loads of this, okay? And you can see what's happening, can't you? I'm going really quite energetic with that circling, and you can see my body is moving as well. I've got no control in that movement at all. Now, what happens is, if we keep exercising like that, we can hurt ourselves because we've got no control in that movement, okay? We need to keep control and the stability through the body and be mindful of how we're moving. Sometimes what happens is the body moves to compensate for an area of tightness. So if we've got a lot of tightness and restriction through the shoulder, the body might move in a certain way to trick us into thinking that we've got more movement there than we actually have. But if we can keep that stability through the rest of the body and just keep the body still as we're moving certain parts and we're assessing how much movement we have, we get a better idea of how supple and how much movement we have through a particular area of the body. So we'll be doing that a little bit as we go on. But I know you're raring to go. I'm just going to have a little look. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so still lots of you on with me. Some more people have joined on. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. I've got my chair, I've got my notes, so I don't forget anything. Okay, the chair is going to be there for me just to show you how you can use the chair to assist you on some of the exercises. Okay, so we'll do that a little bit later on. First thing is first thing. We want to be standing up nice and tall. So I've got my feet about hip width apart. I'm standing up nice and tall. I feel like I'm just being lengthened up through the spine. I'm going to imagine I've got a thread coming out the top of my head and it's just lengthening me all the way up. Okay, so I'm standing up nice and tall. We're going to start with the shoulders, I think, and we'll just work our way down the body. So we'll start by just warming up the shoulders. So we're going to do some little shoulder rolls. Okay, so these are nice, easy ones to do, but we want to try and make those circles as big as we can, but we don't want to force the movement either. So I'm just rolling the shoulders up towards my ears as close as I can get them and then rolling them back down. That's it, taking them all the way up. Wonderful. And then we'll relax them down. So let's do the exercise I showed you a second ago. We're going to take the hand and we're going to put it on the shoulder. And then we're going to focus on the elbow. Okay, so we want to draw a nice big circle with that elbow. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so we're not thinking about the shoulder at the minute. We're just thinking about that elbow and how big we can draw the circle. It's important that you don't force the movement on any of these exercises we're doing today. Just work within your own range of movements. Okay, it doesn't matter if the circle isn't very big. Okay, it'll get bigger over time. I'm going to change direction, I think, and go the other way. Okay, so nice big circle, as big as you can take it. Now we'll do it on the other side, shall we? So we'll switch arms. So you'll notice as I'm doing it, I'm keeping the rest of my body nice and still. I just want to be mindful of what's going on at the shoulder now, okay? And just how big I can make that circle. But in order for me to get a good idea of that, I've got to keep the rest of the body nice and still. I only want the movement coming from the shoulder, nowhere else. So I'm keeping the rest of the body completely still. We've got to change direction, haven't we? Let's go back the other way. That's it. Wonderful. Okay, and then we'll lower the arm down. So let's do another arm one. We'll switch arms again. So this time we're going to do big arm circles. So we're just going to swing the arm. I think I better come forward a little bit. I'm a bit close to the wall. So I'm just going to swing the arm forward. I'm going to take it up and overhead, and I'm going to take it all the way behind me. Okay, then we can do it on the other arm. So we'll take the arm up and overhead. I'm going to take it as far back as I can and then bring it back down, okay? And you'll notice again, I'm going nice and slowly, okay? Because I don't want to have wild arm movements. I want that nice control. But the more control I have, the less likely the rest of the body is going to move, okay? So the best of the body is completely still, okay? So we want to avoid this turning the body as we're circling. We don't want to do that, okay? Keep the body nice and still and just make those circles as big as you can. That's it. Let's do one more. Wonderful. Fantastic. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to adjust my camera slightly. I feel like I should be. Will that adjust? I just want you to see the bit more space above my head. Is that a bit better? That's a bit better, isn't it? Wonderful. Okay, now, here's something I want you to try. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do another one for the arms. So I've got my knees a little soft, okay? I'm standing up nice and tall, okay? I'm going to send my arms up to the ceiling. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to swing them up nice and slowly again. I'm going to send them all the way up to the ceiling. So you can see I sent my arms up, but I try to keep the rest of the body nice and still, okay? No movement anywhere. So I want you to have a go at this now. And I want you to do the same. I want you to keep the body nice and still. And I just want you to move the arms. Now, for some people, if they've got restrictions in their shoulder, they like to do a little cheat. And this is what happens, okay? They tend to lean backwards in the body because they think, oh, yes, look, I can get my arms all the way up to the ceiling, easy. But then because they haven't realised that they're actually bending backwards, okay? And giving them the false idea of how much movement they've got through the shoulders. So what we need to do is keep the body still and just take the arms up. And if you have got some restriction and you can only get your arms to there, well, that's fine. That is your range of movement, and that's the point that you should be working to now. The more you do the exercises, then the freer things will start to feel, and over time you'll be able to get the arms up a little bit further, okay? But you've got to keep the body still. Keep the body nice and still as you take those arms up. Okay, I'm going to turn around again. Okay, so a little stretch then this time. So this is a nice stretch to open out the chest. Okay, it's a really nice one. We're going to start in this position. I've got my knees soft. I've got the shoulders down nicely. Okay, we're going to send the hands out to the side and then bring them back in. Okay, so we're just going to do a few of these. Okay, because this is just like we're still working the shoulders really. Okay, because on this one we're just working the shoulders in a slightly different way. Okay, and it's also just helping to gently encourage the chest to open as we send those hands away. Okay, from here, if we keep the hands out, let's lift the elbows up, okay, and bring the hands into a point above your head, like you're putting the roof on your house. And then we can bring the elbows back down, and then the hands around. We'll do it again. Now, as you lift the elbows up, keep them nice and wide out to the side. Don't bring them in front. Keep them out nice and wide, because again, that's encouraging the chest to open. Okay, that's it. So we lift them up again and back down. Now we'll add another little move into it, because I think this move finishes off really nicely and it feels really good. So we'll put the roof on the house again. The elbows are nice and wide. Keep the elbows wide out to the side, and then just open out the arms, keeping the arms out nice and wide, and let them float all the way down. And I can feel that across the chest and down my arms as well as I open those arms out. So we'll bring the arms back and we'll do it again. We'll send the hands away. We'll put the roof on, and then we'll open out the arms, keeping them nice and wide out to the side. And then we'll do it again. So we'll send the hands away. We'll put the roof on, and then we'll open out the arms and let them float down. I love this exercise. I think we'll do it again. Here we go, one more time. Hands go out. We lift the elbows up, put the roof on your house, and then open the arms and let them float down to the side. Wonderful. Just give those shoulders a little roll around. Okay. So we've done quite a bit of work for upper body, and around the shoulders in particular. So let's come down a little bit and let's do sort of the side of body, sort of round the waist, that sort of area. So we're going to sort of loosen up the lower back and stretch out the side of the body a little bit this time. So we're going to focus on that, keeping the body stable again, okay? So on this little exercise now, I want you to focus on keeping everything, let's say from the waist up, nice and still, okay? Nothing moves. You've got your knees soft, you've got your hands on your hips. Oh no, I'll tell you what, we'll do it this way around. We'll do one hand on the tummy, one hand on the lower back, and I'll stand to the side. That'll be better when you'll be able to see, okay? So I'm going to keep the upper body nice and still. I've got my knees a little soft, okay? My hands are here so I can feel what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some little pelvic tilts. We're going to tilt the pelvis backwards, and then we're going to tilt the pelvis forwards. We're going to tilt it backwards and then tilt it forward. So can you see? I'm just tilting backwards and forwards, but I'm going really slowly and I'm not forcing the movement. I want it to be nice and gentle, okay? Because I'm just really testing out to see how much movement I've got in the lower spine there. So if you often wake up and you feel quite stiff in your lower back, you may not have much movement here at the moment, okay? But the more you do it, the easier it will start to feel. Things will start to loosen up, okay? And it's such a simple exercise, but it can be really effective. This might be all you need to do first thing in the morning, just to loosen things up a little bit, okay? So if you're finding that one a little bit tricky, let's have a go at something else. Here's another one for you to try, okay? So I've got my knees soft again. And again, we're going to think about keeping everything from the waist up nice and still. Now, I'm sure that most of you have had a hula hoop when you were younger. So you're going to imagine now that you've got your hula hoop. I'm going to put my hands on my hips, okay? And I'm going to swing the hula hoop around my hips, okay? So you just got to imagine it. You're swinging that hula hoop, only we're going nice and slowly. That's the only difference. Okay, so nice and slowly with your hula hoop hips. Okay, circling around, and I'm going to change direction. I'm going the other way. Now you keep doing that, and you keep changing direction every now and again. Okay. If I stand to the side, then you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm trying to keep the upper body nice and still. Now, again, if you feel like you get a lot of stiffness or restriction in your lower back, sometimes this happens. Can you see? I'm moving the upper body. Okay, the movement is now coming through the hip joints, okay, not from around the waist area and into the spine, which is where we want the movement, okay. So this happens when people feel like they need to protect the lower back a little bit more because everything feels really stiff and they don't really want to move it because it might just hurt a bit more. But really what we need to do is get that movement, because that's when we really start to feel and notice more of a difference, and things will start to loosen up. If we don't move an area, it'll just seize up, okay? So it's important that we keep moving it. So we don't want to do this, okay? We've got to keep the upper body nice and still, and we've got to get those hula hoop hips going, okay? So have a little go at that one as well. Now this is probably a good one. If you do have stiffness in the lower back, this is a good one to maybe do again a little bit later on today. Okay, so you can try that one out again. I've got some more. I'm just going to check, make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, so that's one to loosen things up a little bit. Now let's just stretch out a little bit, shall we? So I've still got my knee soft. I'll have hands on the hips, I think, to start with. We're going to take one arm. We're going to take it all the way up to the ceiling. And then we're just going to carry on going, and we're just going to flex over to the side. So we're going to have a nice little stretch now, and you should feel it all the way down the side of the body there. And then we'll bring the arm down, and then we're going to do over to the other side. So again, this is a stretch, this one is, but you don't want to overstretch. I mentioned this earlier. If we push ourselves too much into a stretch, the next day you will feel it. It will feel quite sore. Okay, so it's important that when you stretch, you go to the point where you feel that pulling and that discomfort, and you don't take it any further. Okay, over time, the more you do it, the easier it will get, and you'll gradually be able to go further and further. Okay, you might even find that you've got one side of the body feels a little bit tighter than the other, which is quite normal for a lot of people. Okay. Arms down by the side. Keep the knees soft. So this time we're going to slide the hand down the leg. Okay. So it's the same sort of action again. We're doing that stretch, flexing over to the side, sliding my hand down. So now you've got a gauge, and you can see how far your hand will go down your leg. So you might feel that it doesn't go very far. Okay. Maybe you can just get it to the top of your knee. Okay. And then if you remember how far you can go now, you could try it again at the end of the week and see if you can slide the hands a little bit further. Again, without forcing it, without pushing it too far. It's all got to be nice and controlled, nice and steady. Okay, let's make that our last one. Now, what if we put those two exercises together? So what if we do that hand slide? At the same time, we take the other arm over the top, so we get an even bigger stretch. And then we bring the arm down, and then we do it again. So we go up and over the top, so we get that nice stretch again right into the waist. I can feel it now. Wonderful. Let's do a couple more. So we send the arm over. That feels quite nice, that does. Here we go. Last one. Over to the side. Fabulous. Let's do one more. Again, focusing on the lower back, okay, loosening it up. So we've done a little the mobility, the hula hoop one to loosen things up. We've done a little bit of stretching. So now let's see how much rotational movement we have in our spine. So that's anything where we're twisting like this. But again, we want to stabilize a certain part of the body so that we can see how much rotation we've actually got. So on this exercise, we'll use a visualization. I want you to visualize that you're standing in a block of concrete, okay? From your feet all the way up to your waist, okay? You're stuck in a block of concrete. You cannot move, okay? That means that the hip bones here at the front are pointing forwards the whole time, okay? They're not going to move, okay? Should we cross the arms? I think we'll do it this way. So my arms are just a little bit lower than my shoulders. So remember, you're stuck in that concrete. What I want you to do is just very gently rotate around to the side as far as you can go, and then come all the way back to center, and then go the other way. Okay, so you're stuck in that block of concrete. You can't move your hips. The hip bones are pointing forwards. Okay. So this is giving you an idea of how much rotation you have through the spine. Okay, now you could also do this sitting. So you could do the same exercise sitting in a chair, because that fixes your hips when you're sitting. So when you're standing, it's quite easy to cheat. You don't always realize sometimes that you're actually turning the hips. But if you're sitting on a chair and you do it, then your hips are less likely to move. So you get a better idea of how much rotation you've actually got. Okay, so we'll go around one last time, and then we'll lower the arms down. I'm going to give those shoulders a little roll around. Okay, so we've done upper body, shoulder area. We've done a little bit for lower back, so hopefully that's loosened things up a little bit. Let's come down to the hips and the legs. Now this is where you might feel like you need to hold onto something. Okay, if you're a bit wobbly, if your balance is a bit off some days, I have days where my balance isn't as good as other days. So I've got my chair just in case. Let me just check what we're going to do now. Right, first thing, let's just warm up the legs a little bit. Don't need a chair for this one. We can do it with hands on the hips. I've got my feet about hip width apart. I'm going to feel like I'm standing up nice and tall again. Okay, I'm lengthening up to the ceiling. We're just going to bend the knees. So we're just going to do a little knee bend, and then we're going to stand up tall. We're going to bend the knees and then stand up tall. Okay, and that's all we're going to do. Now I'm going to do it from the side. Okay, and can you see I'm trying to keep the upper body nice and still, okay, because it would be really easy to do this. We think we're doing a really big knee bend when we're doing this, okay, but we're not really looking for a big knee bend. That's not what we're looking for, okay. I would rather you stay nice and upright in your spine as you go down into your knees, okay. And here's another little tip for you. Just have a glance down at your legs. When you bend your knees, make sure they go over your toes rather than doing one of these. Okay, don't act up. Puts a lot of pressure through the knees. Okay, so knees over toes. Okay, so this is just a nice little way of warming up the legs, particularly the knees. Okay, we'll make that our last one. Okay, I'm going to hold onto my chair now. So if your balance is good, you don't need to hold on. You can just have hands on your hips if you want to. So I'm going to work this leg, okay, and what I'm going to do, we're working the hip now, so we're trying to get some more freedom of movement through the hip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that leg up, I'm going to pick it up nice and high, I think, and then I'm just going to take it out to the side, I'm going to tap my toe on the floor, and then I'm just going to pick it back up and lower it back down and do another tap, okay, so I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to take it out to the side, do a little tap, pick it back up, bring it in front and do another little tap. Now it's up to you how far you take that leg out, okay. Obviously, the more flexibility you have now, the further that leg will go out. If you feel like you've got quite a bit of restriction through the hip, then just don't send it out as far, okay? So I can do quite a small one. I can just pick it up and just take it out slightly, and then pick it back up again, and then bring it back in, okay? So you need to work to your own range of movement, okay? Don't force the leg out if it doesn't want to go out, okay? You'll get cramping through the back of the hip here. It'll just feel uncomfortable. We don't want to go there, okay? So just work within your own range of movement. As I'm doing it, I'm trying to keep these hip bones pointing forwards again, okay? I think that's enough. Let's leave that there, okay? Now, Let's do that on again. No, we don't need a chair for this one, okay? It's a little bit of balancing again, but we're doing it with a little bit of movement. So hopefully you'll be okay. You won't be too wobbly on this one. Okay, so we're going to pick that leg up again. We're going to pick it up and we're going to pick it up nice and high, but we're going to step to the side and go down into the knees and then bring that foot back in and do a little tap. We do the same side again. So we pick the knee up, we step out to the side, go down into the knees, and then do a little tap back in. We do it again. We pick the knee up, we go out to the side, go down into the knees, and do a little tap in, and then we do it again. Wonderful. We'll make that our last one, and then we'll do a little tap in to finish. Wonderful. Feet and ankles. Feet are flat. So we're going to warm up the ankle joints, okay? So you might be thinking, well, why are we working up the ankles? Because we're going to do a little stretch in a minute, okay? So we want those feet and those ankles a little bit warmer. So we're going to work this leg. We're going to lift the heel. So I just want you to lift the heel up and then lower it back down. Then we'll do it the same on the other leg. So we lift the heel up and then we lower it back down. We lift the heel and lower. So we're going nice and slowly, but when I lift my heel up, I'm really trying to push up onto the ball of the foot as much as I can. So I'm trying to get as much movement through the ankle joints as I can. Okay, just do one more on the other side. Wonderful. So the ankles are a little bit warmer. We've warmed the knees up, okay? I'm going to hold onto my chair. Now, this is where I would suggest holding onto something. So either have your hands against the wall. If you're in the kitchen, hold onto the worktop. Hold onto the back of a chair. We're going to do a little stretch. Hopefully you can see my feet. I think you can. We're going to take a step back, okay? So you're going to take a step back, okay? This leg, this back knee has got to stay nice and straight. Don't let the knee bend. Keep it straight. The foot needs to be flat on the floor, particularly the heel. Keep it down. We're going to bend the front leg, and you're going to bend that knee until you feel that stretch in your calf muscle. So we're stretching this one today because this one tightens up quite easily. If we do a lot of walking, if you're keen walkers like me, I'm out all the time with the dog, it tightens up quite easily. So if you are a keen walker, if you do climb the stairs, you know, if you're at work and you have to climb loads of stairs or something and you do that quite often, or you just do a lot of standing, this is a really nice stretch to do. Okay, so you could do this at the end of every day. You could do those little foot pedals first, and then you can go into this stretch. We need to do the other side. So we'll do the same again. We're going to take that leg back. So we're going to keep the leg straight. The foot is flat on the floor. We're going to bend that other knee and then just take it to the point where you start to feel that nice stretch. It's not really hurting. It's just a nice little pulling, a little bit of discomfort. That's all we should be feeling. No more than that. Okay? Now, I'm going to move my chair because we've only done one leg. So now we know what we're doing. We can whiz through the other side. We're going to start off. We're going to hold onto the chair again. Okay, so we're going to start off with the one where we lift the leg out to the side. So we're working this outside leg again. We're going to pick the leg up. We're going to take it out to the side. We're going to do a little tap. We're going to pick it back up again and then tap it back in front. So we pick it up and we take it out to the side. So all of these exercises that we've been doing, they're working on the movement that we have through the hips. So if we can encourage that movement, it will help us to feel more supple, especially once we start adding in maybe a few more stretches around the hips that we can do as well. But I've just showed you that one today for the calf muscle because it's easy to do in standing and it's one that tightens up for most people quite easily. Okay, so we'll take that leg out, we'll bring it back in. Okay, hands on the hips. We're going to do it again. We're going to do that with a little bit of movement this time. So we're going to pick the knee up as high as we can again. We're going to step out to the side. We're going to go down into the knees, and then we're going to tap the foot back in. Then we do it again. We pick the knee up. We take it out to the side, go down into the knees, and do a little tap in. And again, we pick the knee up, take it out to the side, down into the knees. Wonderful. Couple more. That's it. Down to the knees. Here we go. Here's our last one. down into the knees. Fabulous. Okay, is it foot pedals next? I've just forgotten. It is. It is foot pedals. Oh, I've just remembered I've missed one out. I'll do that in a second. Foot pedal. Oh no, we'll do it now. Let's do it now. That would work better, I think. Okay. We're going to go back down this knees. You know this little knee bend that we did at the beginning? Let's do that. I'm going to hold onto my chair, okay? I'm going to do a little bit more balancing, okay? So if you're a bit wobbly, hold on to something, okay? If you're not, you can do it with both hands on the hips. Little knee bends, okay? Now, would we lift both heels up off the floor? So we lift them up, we go up, and then we come back down. And then we go back down into the knees, we stand tall, we lift the heels up, and back down. And again, we go down into the knees and stand tall. Lift the heels up. That's it. So when we lift up, think of that thread. Think it's pulling you up to the ceiling even more. That's it. Last one. Fabulous. Let's go into our foot pedals. Lifting the heels. One at a time. Nice and steady. Nice and controlled. That's it. So you can see even on these foot pedals, I'm trying to keep the rest of the body nice and still. I just want to be mindful of the movements that I'm creating in one particular area. So I'm just focusing on the feet and the ankles, really trying to push up onto the balls of the feet as much as I can. Wonderful. Let's go back to the stretch. I'm going to turn to the side again. So we're going to take the leg back. The foot is flat. The leg is nice and straight. Okay, we're going to bend the front knee. Now, because we're doing it for a second time, it might feel a little bit easier this time. Okay, it may feel the same. That's okay. It doesn't matter if it does. With stretching, it can take a little while for you to get that increasing that length in the muscle there. Okay, we'll do it on the other side. We'll switch the legs. Okay, so nice straight leg at the back there. The foot is flat, bending that front knee, getting that nice stretch again through that calf muscle. And then we'll bring the feet back in. I'll just move my chair over a little bit. So let's finish off with a nice big movement. Let's go down to the knees first, shall we? We'll go down to the knees. I'm going to float the arms up a little bit, I think. And then I'm going to reach up to the ceiling and then lower them back down. Then we'll do it again. We'll go down to the knees, float the arms a little bit, and then I'm going to reach up to the ceiling and do some nice big arm circles. Here we go again, down into the knees and stand up tall. We'll take the arms up and then we'll float them down. Should we do one more? That's it. Nice big arm circles to finish. Wonderful. Okay, so there you have it. So I don't know how long we've been going for. Oh, I've overrun again. Quite a bit actually. So we'll try and wrap it up then, shall we, in the next 5 minutes. I don't want to keep you too long. Okay, so we've covered as many parts of the body that I could fit in this short session. So we started with the top, with the shoulders, then we came down and we did the lower back, trying to loosen things up there, and then we finished with the hips and a little bit of stretching for the legs as well. So yes, we did incorporate some stretching in there. There was a few stretches in there, but it wasn't just about stretching. It's about getting that movement through the joints as well, which is going to make us feel more supple. So it's joint movement and the stretching gives us that really good suppleness and makes us feel more flexible in our bodies. So that is it for today. That is our session. Now, before we go, we've got a couple of things to tell you, okay? We've got to do our scale of suppleness again, okay? So you might feel, oh yes, now I feel quite a bit looser actually. So maybe if you have tightness in your shoulders and that sort of area, things feel a little bit looser. Perhaps it's your lower back and that feels a little bit looser, okay? So think of your scale of suppleness again that we did at the beginning, okay? And think about where you are now. It may be that it hasn't changed, and that's okay, because like I said at the beginning, trying to improve your flexibility can take a bit of time. So you may not feel much of an improvement all week, okay? You may feel like you're just starting to get there, okay? So don't worry if you're still stuck on the same number, okay? We will get there eventually. You'll slowly start to move up. You may feel, oh, now that feels much better now. So you might want to move yourself up, maybe up to the next number on your scale. So just have a think about that for a second. How do you feel now compared to half an hour ago? Okay. Then what I want you to do is I want you to write that number down. Okay, with your other one. So get your piece of paper. So remember, you put the day down. So it's Tuesday, before and after. You've already got your before number. This is your after, your exercise number. Write it down because it's so easy to forget what we thought we were the day before. When you come back to tomorrow, you'll think, oh, what was I? What number did I start on yesterday? I can't remember. So write it down so you don't forget. And then it's easy to see at the end of the week if you've made any improvements and you're starting to feel a little bit better. So don't forget to do that. One more thing, okay? Like I've said a few times now, to make us start to feel more supple in our bodies and more flexible, we need to stay consistent with moving our bodies, doing our stretches, moving our joints, okay? So what would probably benefit you a little bit more this week is if you found an exercise just by doing that. Maybe there's one, maybe there's two that felt really good and things felt easier afterwards. Why don't you have another go and do those one or two exercises again later today? Maybe do them just before you go to bed, okay? Just spend a couple of minutes. It doesn't take long, does it? Okay? Just a couple of minutes and just do them again. Because the more you do it, the quicker you will see improvements in your flexibility. Okay? So if you do little and often, okay, you'll get probably a better result than trying to just do it sort of once a week. Okay? So once you've got the movement going, you want to maintain it or just to keep improving it and then start to maintain it. So it's important that you still keep doing a little bit, even if it's only a couple of minutes, especially if there's just one little exercise that you feel helps a lot, do it. So for shoulders, it could be this one. Okay, that's a nice one to do. If it's lower back, try the hula hoop one again, but remember, go nice and steady with that one. Don't force it, okay? If you're a keen walker like I am, when you've been on a walk, do that stretch. Do it again before you go to bed as well, okay? You can do it then, okay? Do it a couple of times a day. So have a look go. So try and do something again a little bit later, particularly if it felt good when you did it today. Is that all I need to tell you? Is that all we're going to do? I think it is. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else I've got to tell you, except we are back tomorrow at 10:30. Tomorrow we're coming down onto the floor, so you will need your mat, and you'll need something to support your head. So I normally just have a hand towel just folded to put under my head. It just makes it a bit more comfortable to lie there. So tomorrow we're going to lengthen out the body on the mat, so some different types of exercises for you. Same time, 10:30. I feel like I've forgotten to tell you something, but I can't think what it is. I don't think I have actually. What I will do though, a bit later on, is I will pop in the details of the Zoom session. So on Friday, I'm doing a bonus session. That's going to be live on Zoom. It's not going to be here in the group. So that's a really good session because it's going to take everything that we've done this week in the workshop, plus a few extra little bits, and put it into a full 1 hour routine. And we'll go through the lot. And it's on those sessions that I find that people really start to feel the benefits of doing the workshop, and that's when they really start to get something out of it. So I'd really encourage you if you are free at 10:30 on Friday to sign up for that session. If you're really interested but you just can't make it, sign up anyway, because I can send you a copy of the recording then, can't I? You need to sign up because I need to send you the Zoom link so that you can join on. And of course we'll do a Q&A session at the end, so if there's anything you want to ask me, you can save it for Friday. But if there's something you really want to know today, anything that I've done today that you just want to question me on, just drop a comment below and I will get back to you a little bit later. We've still got quite a few people on there. It's great. Thank you so much for joining in this morning. It's great to see so many people who want to take part in that and start to feel more flexible. So that is really good. I hope you're going to join me again tomorrow. We're going to do the scale of suppleness again, so have your piece of paper ready to write tomorrow's score on, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you go because I have run over as usual again. So I'll see you tomorrow and we'll do a little bit more. See you soon. Bye for now.